Well, this is going to be a slightly controversial video. Hey everybody, welcome back to a slightly different video than you guys are used to, where I wanted to talk about what if Arkham Shadows wasn't just made for VR or wasn't made for the Meta Quest 3, because honestly, this game was amazing, and it was surprising at how well it captured the spirit of Arkham from a very different studio. Just something we have seen before with Batman Arkham Origins, but not since. And with the state of DC games at this point, with Gotham Knights not doing well, Suicide Squad being utter trash, Wonder Woman being cancelled, and the death of Kevin Conroy and the original Harley Quinn with Arlene Sorkin, at that point in time and still now, it's a very difficult thing to be a DC fan when it comes to having anything to look forward to. So when Arkham Shadows was originally announced, it was amazing to see the comeback of Arkham, getting a similar feeling that you had when watching the original Arkham Knight, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, and Arkham Asylum trailers. Batman having the same voice from Batman Arkham Origins, and it was really exciting until we see it was for VR.
I'm gonna kill you!
Fans and myself were slightly annoyed by this decision, and despite my hype, I still was very frustrated, because WB has decided to mishandle and screw up of their biggest IPs and studios, with a lot of things going on behind the scenes at Rocksteady, them closing down Monolith after canceling Wonder Woman, which was a stupid decision, and I'm never going to understand why, among the other terrible things that they've done in the past, not only copyright striking other YouTubers that speak ill of them, except for these that are pretty much industry plants that will kiss their asses, they know who they are. But regardless, with the studio now being closed down with no hope of a sequel, it made me beg the question of whether or not this game would have also worked on console just as well. And I thought about it for a very long time, looking closer at the gameplay and also looking at the more linear experiences we've had with Arkham, with not only DLCs, but also mini titles like Arkham Blackgate, also smaller spin-off games that we've seen recently with Infamous First Light, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Uncharted Lost Legacy as well, which was a big influence for how I would translate the linear structure to a console game. Where ironically, if I was in Ryan Payton's shoes translating this to a console game, I would keep the more linear format, which was a big aspect of what they wanted to do with the game, borrowing a lot from Arkham Asylum's structure and gameplay, and I want to actually keep within that. I wanted to mix together elements from Cold Heart and also Arkham Blackgate with the overall structure of the game, where I wanted to borrow an idea from Gaming Dean's fix for the Arkham Origins traversal system when it comes to this, because I felt like it fit more, where I wanted to keep the overall structure of the levels more condensed and very similar to the VR title, and to do that, I'm cutting the open world, because I don't feel like it needs one, and honestly, it would be similar more to Arkham Asylum anyways, but kind of more like Uncharted Lost Legacy with its chapter-based system and the ability to replay chapters. It would feel like a mixture of an Arkham game with a Telltale game in some ways, where I wanted to keep the overall story and its elements the exact same with very few changes, only to compensate for it now being on console. It would have to have slight changes and tweaks in certain areas, but other than that, what about the gameplay? Now, that is something we can translate very easily to console, basically taking what we had from the VR combat and mixing that with the linear style that we had in Arkham Asylum and the brutal style we had in Arkham Origins, combining all three together to make a slightly newish but kind of old free-flow combat system, where unlike Origins, it borrows nothing from the more advanced games and actually makes the older systems work in its favor and makes them feel just as unique as the newer games without it being as advanced. Where if you were to play it on controller, it would have a similar feeling that you had when playing City or Origins, but taking out the crappy elements of Arkham Origins combat that it had, where the speed and honestly the laggy elements and the lesser feeling you had when playing it is gone. Where the combat does have its quickness, and it's not as fast as Arkham Knights, and it's not as slow as Arkham Origins, where it feels like a mixture of light speed you had in Arkham Asylum with the weightiness and speed that you had in Arkham City, with the brutality brutality and the visceralness that Arkham Origins combat had. So unlike Arkham Origins, where it leans more into the Arkham City's advanced combat, this would lean into Asylum's more at first, and as you go along, it gradually becomes more like Arkham Origins / City's style of combat. You do get the shock gloves, and those affect your combat and other various things that you can do. Because of how limited the combat is, I actually want to introduce a little bit of a rage mechanic linked to your overall combo meter. So see this as a similar thing to the focus state, where it borrows ideas of the rage mechanic from God of War and also Arkham Knight with Harley Quinn's rage mechanic, but done a bit differently. This would be a combat version of the fear system linked to the fear multi-takedown. That's the best way I can describe it, and when it comes to the overall gadgets for the game, I feel that none of them really need to change all that much, because most of the gadgets work fairly well regardless with the Arkham Asylum structure. The only one that needs slight tweaking is maybe the decoder, and that's about it. Explosive Gel Launcher can work the exact same and even borrow some gameplay elements from the one we had in Arkham Knight. So yeah, now that we've figured out how Batman's gameplay could work in this style on console, what about the other aspect of gameplay with Match of Malone? This could be an aspect that some people could find frustrating, considering the times we've played as Bruce Wayne have been for a limited experience, and how people get very frustrated when you have to play MJ or Miles in the Marvel Spider-Man games. Going from playing Batman to Match of Malone could be similar for certain fans and cause a similar problem. And honestly, in the base game, nobody complained because these sections were in VR like the rest of the game, but this would be on console, and it could cause a bit of problems. And I don't want to outright cut these sections, because they are a major part of the game, and a lot of people would probably enjoy them, while also a lot of people could outright hate them. So I have to find a right balance, and I wanted to borrow a little bit from the Telltale games when it comes to the Match of Malone segments. What little we had when playing as Bruce Wayne in the other Arkham games, where we take these already existing gameplay sequences and refine them ever so slightly in certain areas, and really pull from the Bruce Wayne sequences when playing in the Telltale Batman games. Honestly, I don't have too many ideas to really improve these sequences because I do like them, but I could also see them causing problems, so I don't know. But the overall boss fights, on the other hand, could use a lot of improvement if they were on console. So we would be re-adding the Bronze Tiger boss fight with Match of Malone during the intro sequence at Blackgate, where this would be slightly similar to the boss fight he had in Arkham Origins Blackgate, with slight tweaks that pull from Arkham Origins mechanics, where he is very similar to a martial artist and also a knife wielder, a ninja, and you have to learn how to block, time, counter, and other stuff, and it's more melee focused. Carmine Falcone fight, on the other hand, we can slightly tweak, make it less simplistic and have a little bit more challenge to it with it being on console. The Lyle Bolton boss fight could stay the exact same because it doesn't need a whole lot of changes, only some slight tweaks here and there. Honestly, some of the other elements that were a part of this game, like the side collectibles and other things, could still be a part of it and reworked into the console version. I believe it would have been an amazing game on console, even if it wasn't like Arkham Knight's levels of quality. It was a prequel game. It could have still worked. It would have been amazing, and it's such a shame that the game is locked to VR, and it's even more of a shame that Camouflage closed down, because more than likely WB is just going to treat this game like Arkham Origins, where there will be references in the mainline games and they'll pretend like it is canon, but they're not going to do anything with it, which is not only a slap in the face to fans, but also the passionate, hardworking people at Camouflage that worked on it in the first place. And it's a damn shame this game is not on console, because it would have worked. There were many ways that you could translate this game to a console title, as an Uncharted Lost Legacy / Miles Morales smaller Arkham game. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you agree or disagree, or some of your own ideas on how you would translate Arkham Shadows to a console video game and whether or not it is possible. It's been a while since I've done a smaller scale ideas video, so make sure to like this video if you did enjoy, or if you didn't like it and it wasn't for you, change it to a dislike. It's perfectly fine. And if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification button to be notified whether I upload, whether it's Devil May Cry, Arkham, Resident Evil, or any other content under the sun. Make sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel, or the ones on screen right now, and make sure to have a good rest of your guys' night, morning, morning, afternoon, or whatever it is for you in the world. Bundle up because it's still cold outside. Peace out. Bye-bye.